All right, here we are for another session of Healing Starts Here. I've got Greg Malone here with me. He is the Palliative Care Director, and he's going to be talking to us about awareness today. So I'll go ahead and hand it on over to Greg.
Thanks, Sarah. Also, we have Lorraine. She's a chaplain on the palliative care team, and we're doing this is a joint venture with spiritual care department as well. So, but today I'm going to talk a little bit about awareness as we kind of venture into the healing starts now, or healing starts here. Why awareness, right? I mean, that's kind of the question I have. Well, I have found in my life that unless I actually become aware of the things going on inside of me, that I won't know what to do with them. I remember years ago, I was a hospice chaplain. I had just started out in this field, and I'd been working for about a year. And I was feeling essentially this sort of like constipation almost. It was the strangest thing. I know that's a strange thing to say on something like this. But I finally had a friend say, well, you do work with dying people, Greg. I mean, do you think it could be grief? And it wasn't until I actually kind of slowed down and actually got in touch with some of the stuff going on inside of me and why the tightness was there, that I was able to put into some practices that were really designed to help me address my ongoing grief doing the work that I was doing. So rather than you sit and talk about, listen to me talk the whole time, what I would like to do is I would like for us to do a little exercise together. Let's make this a little fun. And I'm going to share my screen with you. Let me do that real quick. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw two different kinds of nurses. We're going to draw a stressed out nurse, and then we're going to draw a resilient nurse. Or for those of us that may not even be nurses on this, just draw yourself, if you're a caregiver and you're stressed out, draw the stressed out caregiver. So take a white sheet of paper and something to write with, and I want you to draw a stressed out version of yourself and then a resilient version of yourself. And we'll come back together in about 3 minutes and share what we drew. All right? So just take a few minutes to do that. I'm going to see if I can find mine that I know I drew before we started. We'll take about 1 more minute. All right. Well, why don't we come back? And I'm a big believer, don't ask people to go places where you're not willing to go yourself. So I'm going to share with you what I drew. And up on the screen, you can see 2 different kinds of Gregs. The first one on the left is me stressed out. You can see my hair is all disheveled. You can see a bag of chips. I don't eat well when I'm stressed out. I just eat like just junk food. That's a big bottle of wine in my hand. And I've got, around my groin, that's my bladder that's full. You can see that because usually I just don't go to the bathroom. And kind of this tightness in my chest and on my shoulders. And I can even feel it right now. It tells me how stressed I feel today. There's a tightness that just resides in my shoulders. And then, of course, you can see I don't look very happy, really. I'm just kind of whatever. But then on the other side is the resilient Greg. This is the Greg that actually is putting into practice some of the self-care things that I try to put into practice for myself. One of those is I meditate in the morning. Sometimes I'll journal in the morning, and that's what you see, a little book and a pen right there. That's my journal. I also eat and drink differently when I'm in a better space. I tend to eat more healthy foods like salads. And then you can see that my hair is nicely styled, as you can tell. That's resilient Greg. And then the thing that is flowing through me is literally like this sense of like, it's just like, yeah, whatever sort of feeling that I just kind of go through the day with. And it's just where I don't carry things as heavily, and things just kind of roll off my back more. And part of that comes from practicing some of the self-care things that I do day in and day out. So I've shown mine. I wonder if we can ask either Lorraine or Sarah to show, perhaps go out on a limb and show theirs as well. Anybody want to take a risk here?
I'll show you mine.
All right, let's hear it.
They're not that different from yours in a way, Greg. There's, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh yeah, you've got quite a do going on there.
Yeah, that would be stressed out me. My heart's a little hard, a little difficult to feel. When I'm stressed out, a little difficult to get in there and see what's going on. It's hard to know what I feel. And then resilient me, much better hairdo.
Oh yeah. Much better.
Yeah, and the big thing is I'm much more in touch with my feelings, and I have a much greater sense of peace, and just a much greater sense of integration. So yeah.
I love it. Love it. And I love that we're not the best drawers. So
Yeah, that
I
would
appreciate
be true.
I appreciate yeah. How about you, Sarah? Do you want to share yours?
Yes, I do. Sorry about that. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my view on this video. Okay. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. Okay. So this is mine. My drawing is, this is stressed out me on this side. You can see my hair is disheveled. I have a lot of lines going on here. There's lines at the top of my head. That's to indicate a headache. I have really bad headaches actually when I'm stressed. And then the lines coming out of my armpits here are smell, because when I'm at work and I'm running around stressed out, I often smell. The lines out of here are my lower back aching. That's a very common thing for me at work from lifting patients. This right here is a call light going off, and that's like one of the things that really gets me. I can tell when I've been taking care of myself or when I haven't, because usually by the third day in a row, when that call light goes off, my first reaction is, you have got to be kidding me, which is not, when that happens, I'm like, okay, I need to find some time to take care of myself. I can feel that. I'm wearing, it doesn't look like shoes. This kind of looks like Frankenstein. I'm realizing that now. But I'm wearing shoes. They have holes in them because I've just been like neglecting buying shoes. And then these lines out here are me rushing around. My eyebrows are furrowed because I get frustrated a lot more easily when I haven't been caring for myself. And then this is a Starbucks, because my like number one coping mechanism is like, you know what? I deserve coffee. So that's me stressed out. And then this over here is me taking care of myself. My shoes don't have holes in them anymore. And my hair looks good. My eyebrows aren't furrowed. When that call light goes off, my ear is ready. I'm like ready for what my patients ask of me. I'm like willing to be present for them. And these lines here are like my ability to take a deep breath at work if something comes along that stresses me out or kind of throws me off, which is often, I'm able to kind of like take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, and acknowledge that, okay, this was something that I wasn't expecting, but I can move through this because I've taken care of myself. And then this is a glass of wine, actually. But I drew that because part of how I take care of myself is kind of like taking time to spend with my friends and my loved ones to debrief about how I'm feeling about work and about life, and spending time with the people that I care about is a big way on how I feel cared for. So that's my little drawing.
Love it. That's outstanding. Thank you both for sharing. I'm curious to hear, what was that like to do that exercise?
For me, and I know Lorraine can add to this as well. I think for me, it makes me stop and think about how do I know when I'm not taking care of myself and when I am? Sometimes it's hard to differentiate the differences because I don't ever love it when I have a zillion call lights going off and I've got a zillion meds to give and things like that. But um it makes me stop and acknowledge, okay, there are times when I'm more ready to care for my patients than other times when, say, I feel like every time someone asks something of me, it's like the end of the world. And yeah, it makes me like recognize that and recognize that there is a difference between the two and kind of that I have influence over that. But that's what I experienced through that exercise.
Nice. How about you, Lorraine?
Yeah, I think too, just that visual representation helps me recognize, helps me tune in to what it feels like to not to be really stressed out, and then to know in my body what it feels like to be resilient, and to know that in a resilient space I feel different in my body. And so to put pen to paper actually makes me tune into my body in a very different way. So it's a very helpful exercise.
Yeah, it's so interesting. You know, when I was drawing this, I was very aware that when I started drawing my shoulders, I became suddenly aware that I feel that in my shoulders right now. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, you know, it's just like, it's like, wow, just even doing the exercise itself was like, oh, this is like happening for you right now. This isn't just like how it usually is. So, so yeah, it's a really kind of fun way to clarify that. Like each of you have said, it really helps kind of bring that to the forefront. So, um, and you guys actually, both of you really hit on some of the symptoms that are pretty common for people that are just kind of struggling. And I just want to say when I say struggling, I mean struggling in the most gracious way. That to struggle means we're human, right? And to struggle means we have limits. And the struggle means that we are going through a hard time. And certainly with the COVID overlay, it's ratcheted things up beyond belief for a lot of people. So here's just a quick list, and we're going to provide this handout to everybody, but you can see some of the work symptoms here. And some of you even kind of mentioned some of that, kind of the feeling, you know, a sense of numbness to yourself, you know. I know, Sarah, you mentioned headaches, and I know I've mentioned the muscle tension. You know, the thing that I didn't call out on mine is I have trouble sleeping when I'm stressed out. So, you know, and just a sense of exhaustion, you know, hair thinning. You know, I knew a woman one time that was a nurse that she would go home and literally just pull her hair out just as she was processing her day. And, you know, so, you know, sometimes, you know, our appetite can be, well, I'm just going to stick with my coffee and not really eat, you know, which probably not the best appetite solution. So mood swings, irritability, you know, anxiety, kind of feeling detached, and, you know, anger, resentment. I mean, you mentioned, Sarah, something like a call light, you know, well, it's just a call light, right? But, you know, it starts to turn into like a stupid call light.
It does.
Sort of, you know, so in, you know, it's just a normal thing. And then it can even get into stuff like the spiritual aspect of things, of like, you know, you're sitting there at work and you're like, what am I doing here? Is this really, I mean, is this making a difference really at the end of the day? I mean, is this really what I wanted to do with my life, sort of thing? and you kind of slip into that sort of existential despair if or something like that. So anyway, this is just this is by no means an exhaustive list. I think any one of us could add even more to this, but it's a way to get us thinking about some of what we might be experiencing. So what do we do with this? I mean, once we kind of get in touch with this, what do we do? And what I'm going to suggest is that we come up with some sort of self-care plan. Now, before we even talk about a self-care plan, we got to talk about self-care and kind of say that is not a selfish act. I mean, shoot, if Lassie went to go get help, you see Lassie said go get help, and then Lassie's in the therapist office getting help. I mean, he's just doing what he's supposed to do. So, you know, but if Lassie can get help, then so can we. And so I want to talk about another handout that we're going to provide you, and it's called My Self-Care Plan. And it can be a useful tool to get started. And I do want to emphasize get started. I would really encourage you to take this in small steps. It could be that you're already doing something right now that is a self-care activity that makes you more resilient. And maybe you're just not doing it as often as you would like to. So maybe that's the first step. Do it more often. Or instead of going on a 4-hour hike, go on a 10-minute walk outside your house, something like that. But choose something that's going to be achievable and something that really kind of centers you and even kind of nourishes you in some way. I mentioned earlier that I typically meditate in the morning. I meditate for 30 minutes typically. I'm not going to say, so that's what you need to do. It could be that you just do it for like a minute or two. Now, some people think meditation is like too like woo woo, you know, Greg, you're getting all hippie on us here, sort of thing, right? And I just want to say there's a lot of medical research, and we're going to provide an article that actually talks about this. There's a lot of medical research that is actually showing that meditating, even if it's like 3 minutes, literally starts to change the brain matter within you. Organically, something changes within the neural pathways. It engages what's called the I'm not going to say this word right, parasympathetic. Say it for me, Sarah, please.
Parasympathetic nervous system.
There we go. That's the word. And it really takes us into a more relaxed state. And so it might be something that you want to try. In fact, this is what I'd like to do. Why don't we try it for 1 minute? Let's just try it for 1 minute and let's see how that feels. Just get comfortable in your chair. All right. And just kind of feel the chair holding you, feel your feet flat on the ground. I want you, if you want to close your eyes, you can. You don't have to close your eyes. But I'm going to have you take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Take a deep breath out. 1, 2, 3. Take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3. Take a deep breath out. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. In. 1, 2, 3. Out. And now we'll come back to the room. 1, 2, 3. You can open your eyes. Now, I don't know about you, but when I get quiet, my mind just starts to spin and I can't turn the thoughts off. And immediately I think, I don't know how to do this meditation stuff. This is kooky. Well, there's a plane going over my house right now, and I apologize. Wow. All I can say is what meditation allows you to do is allows you to pull back and actually see some of the racing thoughts. It can help you get in touch with even sensations in your body, that tension that I mentioned I have in my shoulder. It could help you get in touch with a feeling that's coming up inside of you. Just that sense of quietness can open up space within you to actually notice that and become aware. Could be that meditation feels too much for you. Maybe going out in nature and just taking a walk feels better. Whatever it is, find something that can help drop you down into that space to where you can understand what arises and become aware of that. Because awareness is the beginning of this. It is the beginning of this. So where do we go from here? Well, from here, we're gonna delve into more topics around what are some practical strategies for building resiliency? What are some practical strategies around like being empathetic and not becoming so connected to somebody that we kind of lose ourselves into the work? But we're gonna kind of cover all these kinds of topics, all with the mindset of making this work more resilient and really you finding those healing places within you and your life that can make this work sustainable. So I know that Sarah wanted to share something about kind of how we're going to, go about getting some feedback on whether this kind of stuff is helpful. So Sarah?
Thank you so much, Greg. That was wonderful. I appreciate you sharing with us. I think awareness is getting in touch with what you're feeling is truly where we start. And you already said that, but it's so important to know, to understand what's happening in your body and in your mind now. So thank you so much for sharing with us. Yeah, so I handed out a few surveys yesterday at work, and I know Stephen French sent out a few, I think the night before. So we're no longer doing that intake anymore, but we have the data that we have currently. We will do a reassessment later on in the year, but basically we're trying to measure where we're at now as far as burnout, secondary trauma, and compassion satisfaction. And then we'll see where we're at in the future. And we're basically just trying to measure how effective Healing Starts Here is. So I appreciate those of you who were involved, and we will see you next time. I appreciate those of you who participated today.